What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. We're talking a lot of football. We got the Louisville matchup. We're going to talk more Louisville tomorrow. We talked a lot about it this week. Now it's time to focus on recruiting the young players on the team, the young players potentially joining the team, the future of the Miami Hurricanes. We've been ignoring it. Time to go full in on recruiting with the bank, the absolute most direct, exclusive info for everybody listening to get you up to speed on where Miami is at in the recruiting process. First, I want to talk about some folks that don't need to be recruited. They don't need to be convinced. They are already here for you. That is Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anijar and Levine. Pete, hop in. Let's talk recruiting here.
How you doing, D? Happy 10/17 day, the great Gucci Mane.
What's the reference?
10/17, man. Brick Squad.
Oh, okay.
His label.
All right. Well, happy day for Gucci.
To all those who celebrate, of course.
Let's talk about recruiting. You know, how you cut your teeth in this game. I think really the best way to do it with this it's been a while. So I think just going position by position, not necessarily in order of newest developments, just, hey, this is where we're at here, this is where we're at here, this is where we're at here, makes sense. Also going to tell you guys about some young players that are really developing, that are already on Miami's team, could see more playing time in the second half of the season, or just setting up nicely for next year. So we're going to break some of that down. So P, let's start here with the quarterback position. And that is obviously where it all begins. Luke Nickel, out of Alpharetta, Georgia. Firm commitment since he was a sophomore. He's continued to rise. There you go. See the bank in written form there on the on CanesInSight.com. 7 million posts and counting for free. But Luke Nichols got committed last year, won the state championship in Georgia, high classification, went to Elite 11, made the Elite 11 finals. So he's one of the final 11 guys on that event. And now is having a very, very good senior year. Came down here and balled out against American Heritage on national TV. Nothing really to report other than to say firm commitment. Miami's happy with him. He's happy with Miami. He's going to be Miami's quarterback in this class and potentially of the future. Pete, what have you seen from Luke Nickel?
High floor, man. I mean, I think a guy who's very productive, obviously plays at a big program. And look, we talk about these quarterbacks a lot of times, and we look at the physical traits, and he's someone who, he doesn't look like a future first-round pick by any means, but does everything really well. I think has more athletic ability than people probably give him credit for, and he's a gamer, right? So, again, I think at the quarterback position, obviously production is so important. We talk about some of these quarterbacks. You mentioned Anthony Richardson a couple weeks ago as a guy who has had all these physical traits, but at no level was he ever a great quarterback or even a good quarterback. Never put up those sort of numbers. When you look at Luke Nickel, the guy's a winner and someone who, I'm not going to say he can make all the throws, but you watch him play and he's making tough throws. He's changing trajectory on balls. He has nice touch, right? And he's someone who around the red zone, I think can finish the job.
Yeah, I think you said it really well. Emory, Luke Nickel, I think more your traditional Miami quarterbacks going back to like the Gino Toretta, Steve Walsh's, that style of quarterback that's going to manage the game, also make plays and throw an accurate football, good size, durable. I think those guys, like you said, high floor guys, and then they're going to have some good players around them to excel. A lot of people asking about transfer quarterbacks. Like, I don't think this is October, so whoever's going to jump in the portal hasn't jumped in yet. That would be of interest to Miami Hurricanes. But I do expect Miami to monitor and I've said this consistently, and I continue to say it. I do expect Miami to monitor the portal market for a high-end starting quarterback. We'll see who jumps in. If you look at the top 10, you had Dylan Gabriel's on Oregon, right? Will Howard's on Ohio State. Cam Ward's on Miami. That's 3 of the top 10 teams with portal quarterbacks just last year. So not including portal quarterbacks going back a couple of years like a Jackson Dart. So, I think that is basically where you're at. You're going to wait to see where those guys land, who comes out, who's Miami caliber, who finishes strong as a senior. But Miami's going to monitor that market. And I would not be surprised, continue to say it, I would not be surprised if Miami's quarterback next year is not on Miami's current roster. Running back position, Gerard Pringle, nothing to say. Alabama's after him. Georgia's after him. Firm commit. We've said on this show consistently, you guys have heard it when Byron Lewis was getting some buzz. I said, look, I think it's probably going to be one running back in the class. Maybe something exceptional happens. More likely it's going to be one running back. They're happy with the guys they got, and they love Gerard Pringle, consensus top 10 running back in the nation. Track speed, tough, productive, and a high level of competition there at Armwood and Sefner, Tampa area. And, has quickness to go along with the speed. He's not just a 10-8 sprinter who's going to go to the house, although he can do that. He can also make cuts at full speed and in traffic. So really well-rounded back. You wish he was 220 pounds. He's not, but he's not too small that he can't make an impact at the college level. He'll probably be about 5'9", 200, something like that in the college level, which is more than enough when you think about his speed. Plus he's tough and he plays physical. So not much really to report on the running back front. Tight end, Pete, talking to people, they feel that this as far as senior film, an elite group with Brock Schott, Luka Gilbert. We've talked about them on the show, and yet we had an episode a couple shows back. You could check in the archives. We talked about how guys are progressing mid-season. Both Brock Schott is sort of that move tight end, versatile player, and then Luka Gilbert as your classic inline tight end with size and length and the ability to catch and block. Both of those guys look great. And the words Miami people used with me were elite senior film, elite haul.
Yeah, and Brock Schott, I think I said it the other day, probably my favorite player in the class, might be the best football player in the class. You've talked about how Notre Dame recruited him as a linebacker as well, which shows his mentality out there. And just in general, D, I think the way that they're stacking these classes at that position has been really impressive. Obviously, Elijah Arroyo is the guy right now. Riley Williams, we see him continue to make big strides. And Elijah Lofton, which is not your traditional tight end, but becoming a big weapon for this offense. And now you're going to back that up with two other premier guys who each bring something different to the table. But look, Brock Schott's going to get a lot of the headlines in this class, but Luka Gilbert, his ceiling is very interesting, man, because he's already probably about 250, right? And he's 6'6", 6'7". He's listed as 6'7", so, and he looks it, right? So he's someone who excited to see him on campus and see how his athleticism stacks up. But he's a willing blocker, and as a receiver, I mean, he can stretch the field vertically.
No question about it. I think just look, Midwest players, Miami's making inroads in the Midwest. Of course, Brock Schott from Indiana, Luka Gilbert from Cincinnati. That Midwest pipeline continues. Before we get on to the receiver position and new developments there, I want to talk about something that's not a Midwest deal. This is a Miami deal, and only in Miami deal, which is Champy Seafood. You see my shirt. Authentic, straight from Champy himself at Champy Seafood. Freshest stone crabs in Miami. Stone crab season is here. That's why we're talking about this. The weather's getting cold. The stone crabs are popping. Stone crab season's here. Get your claws delivered straight to your door. Champy Seafood. That is Champy Seafood at Instagram, www.champyseafood.com. Champy, CHAMPYS Seafood.
Look at this.
Look at the claws.
Listen, I saw a write-up the other day that had the best spots in Miami to get your stone crabs this time of year, and Champy's wasn't mentioned. It was a false article. It wasn't right. So we gotta put it out there now. Champy Seafood, man. Yeah, shout out to Filete.
Misinformation. There we go. You want the best, Champy Seafood. You already know. You can see Pete on the Instagram. They're modeling the shirt. So that's the level of models they have at Champy Seafood.
Hopefully the crabs are better than the models.
Let's move to the receiver position. So big news last week. We talked about it on the Instant React. Josh Moore from West Broward flips from Florida to Miami. Big target. Think Colby Young, but more talented, more athletic. That's what Miami's looking at here. A guy that can make contested catches, catch 50-50 balls, use his body, big hands, big body. Very productive, multi-time 1,000-yard receiver at the high school level, on pace for another 1,000 this year. Go-to guy for a team that's not that successful historically. Just a really, really strong player, really, really good player, 4-star consensus. He just moved up in the latest 247 ranking, so now he's firmly in that mid 4-star ranking. Some people have him as a top 100 player. On 3 does. So blue chip player coming to the Miami Hurricanes. Dalen Upshaw from Phoenix City. We talked about him a ton. Love what he brings to the table. Is a strong, sharp route running, good hands, productive guy. Fits a lot of the modern receiver characteristics, the stuff that actually matters more so than just the track speed, although he does make big plays. He's committed. Auburn's going to make a push. You expect the SEC schools to make a bigger push. He's right there in SEC country. We will see how that plays out. His teammate currently plays for Auburn, 5-star Cam Coleman. So we'll see how that all plays out. Miami's knows how Alabama is. They lost Kevin Riley to Alabama. They got Cole McConaughey and Cam Pruitt from Alabama. They're hoping there's more like the latter situation. Identify early and get in some talented players that can really, really help the future of your ball club. That's what Miami's trying to do with Dalen Upshaw. High-profile decommit recently, Malachi Toney reclassified from 26 to 25, was committed to Miami, then decommitted, now kind of playing the market, visiting Alabama, things like that. 4-star player out of American Heritage, smaller, kind of your Restrepo-type receiver, strong, tough, athletic, smart. With him, it's not done just because he decommitted. I think he's just starting the process anew with the reclass. Miami still has interest in him. He still has interest in Miami, so we'll see where that goes. Biggest ticket item to me, Vernell Brown. I think Miami places him in an extremely high category of player, someone they really, really value because of his professionalism, his big playability. Pete, I know you're a fan of his as well. He's someone that I think is going to be a major, major, major target until he signs with a school. So I guess we don't have an NLI anymore, so I don't know how it even works. But until he makes a final decision and he's enrolled somewhere, Miami's going to recruit him extremely, extremely hard. He's a high priority guy. Also, Dallas Wilson from Tampa, another high priority guy, 5-star player. His recruitment has been very, very unusual. He's committed to Oregon. Oregon's, of course, is doing pretty well in the field. But that's one where you don't know where that's going to go. I can't call it. I know Miami has interest, and I know some things about the recruitment. That's an interesting one. Just going to have to watch how that plays out. I wish I had more to give other than I'm watching that one closely and nothing would surprise me. Also, Derek Meadows out in Las Vegas. He'll be a target. Tyler Williams at Armwood. He's another one that's kind of in the mix. So Miami's still casting a wide net at receiver, and I do expect Miami to land a big-time receiver in the transfer portal when that time comes, along with some young guys that we'll talk about here a little later in the show. Offensive line.
I got a surprise for you on this one, D,
because
you're going to talk about S.J. Alafatuli here, but and I'll pull it up here. But he just uploaded new highlights 3 hours ago, which I'm sure you haven't seen. So I'm gonna
play him.
I'm gonna play them here. This is from his last game, but go ahead.
I live for this. So bottom line with S.J. Alafatuli, you see him. I think he's playing guard here. There he is playing left guard. Look at how twitchy and explosive he is. Just a bully, extremely strong in the weight room, but the suddenness that he plays with, look how quickly he gets to that combo
block. The way
block.
he gets that, the way he gets off the line is, it's impressive.
And the testing backs it up. There's one of the most athletic offensive linemen in recent history when you just look at the testing numbers, quickness drills, explosiveness drills, and again, you see it right here. Weight room strong as well. Not the tallest guy. He's definitely a center to me, although I guess you can get away with him at guard against certain teams. But he's gonna find his way in the field. I mean, maybe he plays fullback. He's that kind of guy. Talking to people at Miami, I'm hearing, look at this guy. What an
His
athlete.
short shuttle time must be absolutely elite. I don't know if we have.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but I know it's sub 4.5. This guy flies. So the story with him, Miami watching his senior film, they already knew he was elite, but this guy's considered like a Ruben Bain, Francis Malinois, Elijah Lofton, former teammate of S.J. Alafatuli, by the way. That kind of instant coffee, ready-to-go player who makes an instant impact and projects as an NFL-type impact guy just because of how advanced he is, how physically talented he is, the mentality, the production. Miami center of the future, and somebody who, again, talking to Miami about his senior film, he is right at the top of the list of like, hey, this is a special, special player that we got locked up, S.J. Alafatuli.
Yeah, huge fan of his. And look, he'll probably be a center at the next level, but it's impressive to see that movement out there right now at guard.
Oh, yeah. So defensive end, I think there's going to end up being a strength of the class. It was a strength of last year's class. You got Cole McConaughey, Lightfoot, Elias Rudolph, Booker Pickett. Miami has high hopes for all those guys, different kinds of styles to some of them, but Miami likes what they have with all of those guys. They've all played to a certain extent this year, whether it's on kickoff, like Lightfoot, whether it's on defense like McConaughey, the other guys getting spot snaps. So great class last year from Miami's perspective. Miami would love to stack edge rush classes. So this year they have a commit from Herbert Scroggins, who recently got a big, big bump on 247, is now a consensus 4-star player. He should have been that all along. We said on the podcast, just watching his senior film, this is an extremely productive player out of Savannah, Georgia, guy who's been producing since he was a young player in Savannah, high level of competition, Benedictine military school. Tough, smart, relentless motor, athletic, Warrior Jack linebacker. He's not a huge base guy like a Ruben Bain where he's 280 pounds, but he's got long arms. He plays very strong, can get off blocks. Pretty much your prototype jack linebacker for this Miami system and your prototype mental profile for a Miami athlete in this Mario Cristobal era. Smart, tough, relentless. That's what you want. You hear Mario say in the press conference, you want to have a team like that. You got to recruit guys like that. I think Scroggins is there. And, you mentioned Alfatuli. They put Scroggins in the higher level of Miami's current commits. A guy who would immediately enter that higher class of commit is Hayden Lowe out of Los Angeles, USC commit. He visited Miami in the spring. I saw him. I thought he was like an alumni. I thought he was like on like one of these 2000 teams. I just didn't recognize the face. This is a big bodied dude. This is some junior highlights here, but his senior highlights from those who have seen it, apparently is off the charts. 247 just gave him a huge bump based on his senior film. Another consensus 4-star player. But from what I'm told, this guy's like, as far as Miami's valuation of him, they see him as a big time, kind of 5-star type talent who can make a real impact. Went to the same school as Kayvon Thibodeau, who Miami signed. A lot of similarities when you talk to people about Lowe compared to Thibodeau. The motor stands out with him, just like Scroggins, all the mental stuff and the production stuff. But this guy's 250 pounds in high school, and I saw him in person. He looks the part.
And look, I mean, from what I'm seeing here on this stuff, and again, this is junior film, but really good body control for a big kid at that size, 6'5", 250, like you said. And I mean, he's long, he looks strong. And again, not too many guys at this age can control those long limbs the way that he can. It's impressive.
Yep. He's a beast, man. And he's Miami's deep in there. They think they have a great shot to pull off the flip. Of course, he's committed to USC, but he's still talking. He visited this offseason. There's a big relationship with Jason Taylor and Lowe. Of course, the school relationship with Cristobal. I'd keep an eye on Hayden Lowe as potentially a centerpiece of this Miami Hurricanes class, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Also want to plug, by the way, I got a call for Canes Connection today at 8 p.m. It'll be recorded and sent to all Canes Connection members if you can't make it live. I'll be answering questions, giving you even more inside info than I'm giving you now, stuff that I can't necessarily say in a public setting where I can get recorded by Gator fans and Knoll fans. I'll give that to you on the Canes Connection Zoom call. Ask anybody who is a Canes Connection member. They'll tell you those calls are really fun and really informative. So if you want to support the cause for that 6th national championship, join Miami's official NIL collective, CanesConnection.com/CIS to get access to that. Make sure you get that /CIS to get access to that Zoom call. And you get the email as well. Sign up, support the cause, support Miami's NIL so we can keep getting some of these recruits that we are talking about now, including these defensive backs that we're going to get to in a second, which, as you can imagine, a little bit of a price tag on those dudes. So defensive tackle, Miami's got 2 commits. They're happy with Micah Newton out of Newberry, Florida. 6'3", 260 type guy, getting bigger, but super athletic, plays all over the line. He's someone who's going to build up to be a defensive tackle. He's about 260, 265 now. Lean frame, but man, super productive, extremely twitchy. Miami got him from NC State. They got a rising star with him. They love his senior trajectory. Dante Simpson, different type of player out of Chaminade. This guy is already 6'4", 310, built similar to John Ford, a former Peter Ariz FRN client. He put up incredible change of direction times at the Under Armour camp, some of the best times in the Southeast for a defensive tackle. So you have the size, you have the quickness, and you watch the highlights of Dante Simpson. He's producing in flashes. He'll have moments where it doesn't look as good, then he'll have moments where he'll completely dominate. Overall, he's having a productive year. I think a talent like that locally, you get him, you develop him, kind of like an Ahmad Moten. And then maybe that second, third year, you really start to see the results when you look at the physical talent and the quickness. A couple more guys I want to talk about defensive tackle to keep an eye on. Jarquez Carter, teammate of Micah Newton at Newberry, currently committed to Ohio State. Miami finished second to Ohio State. They're still pushing on him. Of course, his teammate has since committed to Miami. They love him. He's having a great senior year. Miami would love to flip Jarquez Carter. Keep an eye on that name. And then 5-star Elijah Griffin. He's likely to commit to Georgia here coming up. Miami will keep recruiting him after that commitment if he doesn't commit to Miami. I think Miami's probably running second in that recruiting to Georgia, where he will likely commit here in the next week. And then Miami's going to try to flip.
D, before we get to linebacker, wanted to talk about our friends at Asset Dash, the best portfolio tracker and rewards program in crypto. You can hit that QR code right there to download Asset Dash. It's the best, like I said, the best portfolio tracker and rewards program in crypto, where you can do everything from tracking your investments, earning rewards, and now buying over 1,000 different cryptocurrencies on Solana natively through the app asset-com. You earn additional coins when buying directly through the app. You download Asset Dash for all your portfolio tracking needs, crypto, NFTs, stocks. If you invest in something, Asset Dash supports it. And for a limited time, you enter the code CANES, all caps, at sign up. You will receive a free premium Asset Dash Gold membership for life. Again, asset-com. You can track everything in your portfolio with Asset Dash.
Yep, and always appropriate when you talk about some of these guys who are, on top of being great student athletes, are tremendous assets to their program, which is why Canes Connection is so important. These guys deserve money, and they're going to get it from somebody. Might as well be the University of Miami. That's why the collective is so important. So switching gears to linebacker, Miami's got two in the boat already with Gavin Nix out of IMG. Guy gets a lot of Jonathan Vilma comparisons for his sideline-to-sideline ability, his IQ, his leadership as the captain of IMG. Ezekiel Marcelin, similar role for Miami Central, a guy who started there since he was a freshman. So two very smart linebackers from winning programs. Nick's the higher rated guy, top 100 type player. Marcelin, a 3-star, but similar profiles there. Miami would love to add a big, physical, fast guy. They lost Elijah Melendez to Auburn. I think that was kind of a mutual parting there for Miami. And I think Miami would view an upgrade as an upgrade, I should say, either of these two guys. Tarvis TJ Alford, Ohio State commit from Vero Beach, Florida. He's thinking about potentially staying closer to home. Miami's pushing there. He's a consensus 4-star player, again, committed to Ohio State. And then this guy, Pete, pull up the film. One of the most interesting players. So you're pulling up the junior film. Okay. So yeah. So this is.
Let me see.
Yeah. No, he does. It's on some quick cut or some crazy thing. Just put the junior ones on. But this guy. So we're watching junior film here. Kellen Wiley, who was previously at Hillsborough High School in Tampa, has now since transferred to Armwood. He's got his senior clips on his Twitter. But man, this is a dude who had no offers really as a junior, nothing to speak of. And then Miami went to go watch Sefner Armwood against Central, and they saw this guy going against Miami Central in Trash Powell, one of the best teams in the country. And he completely dominated. 6'4", 220. I mean, I don't know how he didn't have any offers as a junior, because you watch his junior film here at Hillsborough, smaller high school. This is where Miami got Andrew Williams back in the day, starter on the 2001 team. But, I mean, he was a beast then. You could see the size and the speed. But then once he got to his body slam, but then once he got to Armwood, he really just exploded even more. He's having just an unreal senior year. Sideline to sideline speed, 6'4", 220. He's getting interceptions. He can drop into coverage. He can rush the passer. He's a major league striker as far as impact on these backs. You see him crush this dude, body slamming. Again, this film is good as a junior, and the senior film's like 3 times better. He's gotten offers from teams like Alabama. I mean, he went from nothing to a lot very fast. Miami's been on him. Miami was one of the first to identify him because they saw him at the game against Central. His teammate Gerard Pringles, a running back commit who we talked about earlier. So Miami was on this guy early. His dad posted on our message board. Shout out to Kellen Wiley Sr. I believe his name's Kellen Wiley Sr. But shout out to Pop Wiley. This is a really, really impressive player, and I think Miami would love to land this guy as a rising dude to add some length, athleticism, and physicality to that linebacker room.
And he looks comfortable, at least in the one clip I saw earlier, in coverage 2D, which at the linebacker position, that's what separates these guys as being situational players, as off-ball linebackers, or playing all 3 downs. That's when you talk about the next level of the NFL, but in college as well. And we've seen the issues sometimes the last few years with Miami linebackers and coverage, but this is a guy who he has the physical traits to do it, and then seems like he has the mental capacity as well.
Yeah, he's if you watch his senior clips, he's rushing the passer on passing downs, also getting interceptions, dropping back into coverage, breaking passes up. So like you said, just versatility. And he's 6'4", 220. The physical tools are just pretty rare when you combine it with the speed, with enough fluidity to play linebacker, not have to be a defensive end convert like a lot of guys that size. You just have to move to the end because they don't move well enough. He does. He actually plays linebacker and has played linebacker. So it's not like you're taking a smaller D end and moving him to linebacker. He's comfortable there. This guy to me would be a huge, huge pickup. So either him or TJ Alford. I think you're really upgrading the size and physicality of the linebacker room, pairing with an Ezekiel Marcelin and a Gavin Nix, more your cerebral, smaller type guys.
He reminds me, who he reminds me of a little bit? He's a couple inches taller than him, but Darius Leonard, man, who not playing right now, had a bad back injury, but was on pace before the injury to be one of the most productive linebackers in NFL history, was with the Colts, and a guy who just always around the football, that length, man, because you understand these modern day linebackers they're not the squatty types anymore. You've got to be able to run, get sideline to sideline, and that length just seems like a guy who can force a lot of turnovers.
And listen, I know Leonard played at 220 in the NFL. I mean, this guy's 220 now at least. So he's a big boy. He can play with the speed and sideline to sideline ability of Leonard. You're talking about a really, really impactful guy, which is why the Alabamas of the world are offering as a senior, just trying to catch a rising star with the Kellen Wiley. But Miami's very, very well positioned with him. Now, we saved the best for last. Defensive back, prime time, premium names on the board. Want to talk about these guys, but first, let's get a plug in. Watch party, Canes Connection members. We will be having a watch party in Bodega, not just open for members, it's open for everybody. So it's Canes Connection event, open for everybody for free at Bodega. Official Canes Connection watch party. This is in Coral Gables, right there on Miracle Mile. I will be the host. I'll be out there. Discounted food and drinks and live giveaways for Canes Connection members. Everybody else, sit back and enjoy the show. Maybe you sign up, promo code CIS, and join the cause for 6 with Miami's official now collective. But it's a great place. Tequila, tacos, some of the best Mexican food in town, if not the best, right there in Coral Gables on Miracle Mile. Bodega, Miami Hurricane Watch Party, CIS, and Canes Connection. I will be there. Hope to see you guys out there. Okay, on the defensive back position, the big names. Pickett, Ben Hanks. DJ Pickett, 5-star from Riverview, near Tampa, committed to LSU. Ben Hanks should be a 5-star from Booker T. Washington in Miami, Florida. Gator legacy, committed to University of Florida. I think you noticed that they were posting pro Miami stuff on their on their Twitter. The
Facebook, man, you're taking us back.
I'm old, man. What do you have to tell you, man? I'm old. On their Twitter, you saw X posting pictures of them with their families, with production. Made the graphics saying basically, your family, our family, with them, with their families. They both posted it. That's not a coincidence. Miami is pushing hard with both of these guys. They are going to be on campus for football games, for home games in the future. Could be multiple home games for Miami Hurricanes. They really, really want both of these players. That's no secret. But what I'm hearing is that it's very much reciprocal. There's movement being made. People, when Miami, Florida, they thought everybody was just going to jump in the boat. That's not exactly how it works. But these two particular recruitments are moving in the right direction. I don't think LSU feels very comfortable about where Miami is doing with DJ Pickett. I don't think Florida feels very comfortable what Miami is doing with Ben Hanks. So these are the two names that if you add them, you have now landed the best cornerback class in my lifetime of Miami Hurricanes, maybe going back, I can't even remember. These would be this is a top 10 player in DJ Pickett. Ben Hanks, probably even better as a pure corner. So you get those two guys. That's 2 5-star caliber type prospects. Could start right away for you next year. And Miami feels very, very good about the progress being made. Nothing imminent, but those two are trending the right way, like where Miami's going with those two guys. Jabari Antoine, another top 100 player currently committed to University of Miami from New Iberia, Louisiana. So we thought the 2 Florida guys committed elsewhere. There's a Louisiana guy committed to Miami. He suffered a season-ending injury. It was unfortunate. He was having a great senior year, but he's expected to recover fully. He'll be in town, I believe, for the Florida State game. So he's coming down and will visit. Miami feels good about his commitment, and they loved what he was doing as a senior before getting hurt. Unfortunate, but look, he'll be back. He'll be back there. Then Miami has other commitments at the position. I won't go through everybody because I really want to focus on the names that haven't committed yet. Couple names I want to highlight on the current team. I always like to give you the recruiting update and then who's emerging on the team right now that maybe is not getting talked about. Maybe they're on scout team. Maybe they just are about to really explode on the national scene. Matthew McCoy, left guard. Talking to people in the building, they say this guy's one of the best players on the team, period. He's not getting enough credit. They think he's a left tackle in college. They think he's a left tackle in the pros. They think this guy's very, very special. He suffered an injury in camp, which is why he kind of eased into the lineup with Ryan Rodriguez. Wasn't really able to compete at any of the tackle positions. This guy is a super athletic, super talented guy, and they're very, very happy. Pete, I know you've seen him walking around campus. He's a big boy for being the best athlete on the offensive line group.
Big boy, and you can tell he's still young, too. There's still going to be some growth there with his body, which is exciting as a Canes fan, obviously. And obviously under the tutelage of Mirabal and Cristobal, that development will continue to happen.
Some other names I want to get to you. JoJo Trader, Nye Carr, freshman standouts at receiver. They were balling every day at camp. We talked about it in the offseason, every practice we went to. They're starting to really emerge. They're going to force their way onto the field. You saw JoJo Trader get a little bit of burn against California. I would expect that to continue to go in the upward direction. Nye Carr, same thing. Of course, there's a lot of mouths to feed a receiver, but these are two guys that are pushing to get on the field. That's happening. Armando Blunt on the defensive line, same thing. Guys really, really pushing with his performance. Was injured in camp, set him back a little bit. True freshman, only 17 years old. Kind of like Ryan Williams, a reclassified guy from Alabama. Blunt's the same way at a more physical position at D tackle, the end. He's someone who's going to force his way on the field, more likely at the end at first, but someone with supreme athleticism, 5-star ability, 5-star mentally, valedictorian of his class. He's really pushing. If he didn't have that injury in camp, he'd be on the field already. Elijah Lofton, Jordan Lyle, they already have big roles. Those roles will continue to go up as the season progresses, according to the people I talked to. A couple more names I want to throw at you. Robbie Washington, I asked how his progress was going at corner after moving from the wide receiver position. I am told very, very well they're counting him to be a player on the team. So he's shown enough now that he's projected into the future plans. He's playing special teams right now, mop-up duty. I don't think he's going to be playing like starting nickel corner against Louisville or anything like that. There's a bit of a learning curve, but they've seen enough from him that you can start projecting him into Miami's future plans. They're very happy with the move. I think that's going to be a very good move for Robbie long-term, and he will be an NFL player at that position, whether it's the nickel, whether it's outside. He can do both: physical, quick, fast, playmaker, and has decent size. Another name that's not been talked about a lot, Isaiah Thomas, freshman from Clearwater. We haven't talked about him at all with this freshman class. He was a great sophomore film. Really, really outstanding as a sophomore. I think this is what we're watching right here.
This is junior film right here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So sophomore film was outstanding. Got hurt. Junior year film was pretty good when he was coming back. Then senior, he was looking great, and then he got hurt again. So you're like, all right, this guy's just suffering a lot of injuries. There you see him right there. Look at the athleticism and the size. So you're saying, all right, he's originally from Canada. PU interviewed him, right? He's from Toronto.
He's from Canada. I don't want to say Toronto for sure, but that would be a good guess.
I feel like you asked about Drake or something like that.
I think I asked about the Raptors, maybe. I don't know.
So anyways, this guy's a super talented guy. He's been dealing with injuries his whole high school career. Now is fully healthy. And he is going to be a factor, at least in practice. He's fully cleared. He's practicing, and I wouldn't rule out him playing special teams, right? So this guy's back. And when you look at his talent, his size, and his athleticism, when he's healthy, he's got something. So we're going to see where this goes with an Isaiah Thomas, but he's cleared. He's back. He's ready, and he's going to be in the mix for this program going forward. Add him to the list of safeties of the future with the Dylan Day, Zaquan Patterson. His name is now in the mix. He's kind of a mystery man, kind of like a Zion Nelson, but where you don't know what's going on with him, but he's healthy, and he can move really, really well.
Yeah, the length obviously is there. He has some striking ability, and he's moving better than I remembered him moving. And again, he got hurt, so that sets you back. He didn't have much senior year, so I think things were a little quiet there for that reason. But excited to see gets a redshirt year, which everyone wants to play, obviously, right off the bat, but could be really beneficial for him moving forward.
Yep. No, and Miami needs all the help at safety it can get in the future. So that's what's up with the Canes recruiting with some of the young players. Also, if you want to be seeing the team as of now, the top 10 team in the country, number one offense in the country, got a little bit of a deal to announce. No fee. It used to be no fee Friday. Now it's the no free weekend starting today on Thursday. No fees are back starting today, Thursday, and ending on Sunday. No fees on tickets to the remaining home games. That includes FSU, Duke, and Wake Forest. The offer is available exclusively at MiamiHurricanes.com/no fees. So right, MiamiHurricanes.com/no fees. Don't wait any longer. Get your tickets to the final 3 games of this exciting season. No fees attached. MiamiHurricanes.com/no fees. If you had any interest in buying tickets, this is the way to do it. Don't waste your money on fees. MiamiHurricanes.com/no fees. 4 Canes tickets the last 3 games of the year, Thursday through Sunday. See some of you guys on Saturday at the watch party at Bodega. We'll be back here tomorrow to break down Louisville a little more, but wanted to give you guys the latest scoop on recruiting. Those of you who are Canes Connection members or are signing up as you listen to this podcast, CanesConnection.com/CIS. We'll hear you on the call tonight and hear your questions and give you the inside scoop. Other than that, go Canes.
Go Canes.
Yeah, this an insight to the Canes, and you know we ain't playing no games. Joaquin said dominate, so that's what we do. Home of the legends and 7th floor crew. Down in Miami where hurricanes brew. You here for the rumors, we bring you the news. Cause it's all about the you, and nobody do it like CanesInSight. 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 It's CanesInSight.